told us they use our tokens for feature tokens for Magic the Gathering as well.
That's awesome.
Because there's a clear upside, there's numbers, and you can tap it.
So super versatile.
Absolutely.
Well,
the more use, the better.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Really
Thank you.
Thanks.
Level 2.
Please, sir, do you have a quest for me? I need to gain experience desperately. And look, all I have is this pitiful magician's pouch.
You got that at the discount booth, didn't you?
No, I mean, look, it's a hand-me-down. Come on, man.
A hand-me-down.
Yeah, come on. You got a quest for me or what?
Well, I could really use a new sales pitch for this Book of Monsters Might.
Okay, great.
But put some spiel on it. Look good.
I have achieved the mightiest tome here at Gamehole Con, the Book of Monstrous Might. Have you ever wished to have a troll pop out a second head using its hit dice? Have you ever wished to interrupt a goblin wedding? I used my hit dice to grow this mustache. Before I had this book, there was nothing there, and now it's there, and it's beautiful. The Book of Monstrous Might. Get it here, now.
At Total Party Kill Games.
I'm here with Orlando with Total Party Kill Games at Gamehole Con, and tell us a little bit about what you got going on here.
Well, I believe we are in fact one of the best dice vendors to cover this. We have liquid core, actual gemstone dice, rose quartz, red granite, amethyst, like dice made of amethyst, foil resin, and lots of metal minis. We're also a publisher. We write third-party products, Dungeons and Dragons.
Book of Monstrous Might.
Book of Monstrous Might is our most recent Kickstarter. The Librum of Lost Magic is the one that we're working on right now.
Okay.
So a bunch of spells from previous editions or other eras of D&D that didn't make it into the current edition.
Yeah.
We're collecting those and putting them in the new book.
Is that being kickstarted?
That's being kickstarted right now.
Okay, awesome.
Come and marvel at just how long my dreadlocks are.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, where can people find your stuff?
Well, you can find us at totalpartykill.games.
Awesome. Well, Orlando, thanks so much. It's been great talking to you.
It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
I need a quest. I really need to level up.
Okay.
Like
okay.
a lot.
Okay, I understand. I need a new pitch. I have all these donuts. I need a new sales pitch for the donuts. I'm not getting a lot of traction at the booth here. Could you help me out with the sales pitch for the donuts?
I can do that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. Okay. Hear ye, hear ye. We have here dice containers that look good enough to eat, but bite them not, for you shall forsake your own teeth. But should you acquire one such dice container, you will be the most fashiontastic person at your gaming table or hobby shop. If they're beautiful, they're crafted with love, hand made by hands. Hands made them. They are beautiful, they are food, and they eat dice. Buy your donuts from these fine purveyors. Post haste. So tell me a little bit about your product line and what you guys do.
Sure. So we're Dodeca Donuts. We make 100% real, totally fake donuts for holding your dice. You know, and if you're gonna have donuts, you gotta have coffee too.
I didn't even see. Is that a coffee dice tower?
It's a coffee dice tower.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so it's really the goal is for us is to kind of bring a little sense of whimsy and play to the game table in a way that a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of very sort of OSR kind of a little more hardcore stuff.
We've all seen like the dungeony kind
of
dice
the dungeony
towers,
stuff. We wanted to bring something a little bit. Yeah, we wanted to just do something a little different. So yeah, but they're all everything's handmade. We cast cast all the tops. We hand do all the inside the wooden parts, and then we do the coffee cups, and the coffee cups just started out as kind of like a 3D printed thing that has kind of evolved. But yeah, we make all these as well.
Are they all made like in-house, or do you have?
Yeah,
like,
we make them all in. We make them all in house. We had
Wow.
someone. They have an injection molded set of baffles on the inside, so we had somebody do those for us. But otherwise, we cut all the holes and we ruined perfectly good coffee cups by drilling holes in them and turn them into something even better.
No,
Coffee cups
it's
I
coffee that makes magic. and
Yeah,
story.
exactly. Coffee that makes magic. And stories,
like real
all the rest
coffee.
of it. Yeah. So just trying to make kind of clever, fun, tricky stuff that makes people laugh at the table. That's
How long
kind
have
of
you guys been in business?
I started making them probably 5 or 6 years ago on a very small scale, and this past year has really been the first year that we've really tried hard to kind of share them with a lot more people. So we're going to a lot more conventions, selling a lot more online, that sort of thing.
And well, where can we find you guys online?
You can find us at Dodeca Donuts and on all the socials, or at dodecadonuts.com.
Well,
Spelled just like it sounds.
Dodecadonuts. The other plus is that it's really fun to say.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
Your repurposed freighter drifts through space. As you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in. Wait, is this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh. Did we? That's cool. I can pivot. The smell of smoke curdles in your nostrils. Hold up, I thought we were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign. Alright, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scrape by with historic tools as weird phenomena plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and the dead rising from their graves. And amidst the chaos, 3 strangers will meet in a dim bar. A veteran zombie slayer, a disgraced general out for revenge, and a space mercenary sent to investigate the power plants. Now describe your characters. How did you do that? I have the right tools for the job. Oh, hi. Hello, Blaze, welcome in. Dougie, it's been so dang long. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you? Death Angels, welcome in. Jonathan, welcome in. Manfred, welcome in. We got the early crew out in force today. How are all y'all diddly dang doing? You're getting snazzy with the advert. Thank you. I could not, for the life of me, figure out. I've been in like an ad writing slump for the past like couple of months. I could not come up with a good idea, and finally figured out something. I'm pretty happy with it. It was made under pressure, and I guess pressure makes diamonds. We purchased an ad slot from Dungeon Craft. So keep an eye on Professor DM in the coming months, this month, I think it's on his schedule for this month. But we bought that ad slot from him, and I did not have an ad to give him, so I had to write one real quick. Lando, welcome in. It's good to see you. How are you? I'm well. No rest for the wicked, unfortunately. That's fair. How's it going? I worry for you, and like all truck drivers, really, like getting around this season. How's it been? I'm well. We've been doing well. I don't know why. The only like update that I can think of to share at this moment in time is that there is a persistent mold in our toilet that won't go away, and it's in all of our toilets. And not sure what to do about it just yet. We cleaned it and it was gone, and then it was back. So I went bowling today. I'm not good at that game. What even are the scores? Jim Gaffigan has a really good bit about bowling. It's like what did he call it? It's the something of sports. I don't know, just the fact that, like, I don't know, you're there and you can eat French fries and have a beer and play a sport. You're not meant to be good at bowling. It's like the karaoke of sports. Let's go with that. You're just meant to have a good time. That being said, what was your score? Someone, Chuck, might want to update the Twitch weekly schedule on Discord. You know what? I'm going to make a note to do that tomorrow. I'm actually just going to take a picture of your message. Wait. Oh no. Thank you. Now I will remember to do it. Chuck has been sick. Poor guy. He needs a break, man. Doing good. Got packages in the mail, including a TLG one. I'm very glad to hear that. I hope that they do not disappoint and that everything is present in your package. Mirador, welcome in. How are you? Brevin, welcome in. Bowling is about catharsis, not being good. Oh, yeah. When else can you just, like, hurl a 1,000 fucking pound thing down a laneway and watch it break stuff? Maybe I don't know what bowling is. As long as you don't follow the ball down the lane still attached, you're good enough. Honestly, fair, true. Hey, Savage, welcome in. How are you? My game got canceled, so I'm here to hang. Well, I'm sorry that it had to be under such circumstances, but I am glad that you're here. Which game is this again? I remember you told me which one you have on Mondays. Is it a CNC game? Some people have skill. I have brute force and determination. If you just throw the ball hard enough, I'm pretty sure you win. Is that how you win bowling? We talking about bowling? We're talking bowling. Welcome in, honey. How are you? It was posted on 12/25/20. Listen. Hey, we've got the social media post scheduled now, so folks will know. Hey, new type. Welcome in. How are you? Sun up to sundown every day. The days are long and everyone is rushing to get their projects done before the snow eventually rolls in. It's okay though, because if I'm not making money, I'm spending it and trips won't pay for themselves. That's fair. That is true. That is fair. Do you have any upcoming trips that you're excited about? We have one. It's called GaryCon. Are you going to come through again? Because you should. That's all I'm saying. It's less dangerous axe throwing for clerics. Sounds like axe throwing practice for clerics. I'm GMing 2 CNC games this week and some D&D, so we'll be playing. Hell yeah, that rocks. What are you going to be playing as? I feel like when the forever DM gets to actually play a game, it's really something special. I usually play AD&D 1E in Greyhawk live on Twitch on Monday nights. Damn. I didn't know that it was live. I think I somehow missed that. That's really cool. I was about to be like, hey, tell me the channel name, but I'm here on Monday nights. But hey, would you maybe drop the link to your channel that you stream on so that people can decide whether they'd like to be there or here? Have you ever met someone that was good at bowling? They tend to like to brag about it a lot. My ex-brother-in-law has quite a few 300 pins. What's a 300 pin? But yes, I had a Facebook friend for a while. I think we're still Facebook friends. Who's like on a professional bowling league and was very, very into it. And I can't hate because I'm a tabletop RPG nerd and that's all I talk about. So when I was like 12, I went bowling for the first time and didn't know I had to let go. So I threw it at the ceiling and broke a panel, and then it dropped into another lane and ruined the flooring. Oh, buddy. We did something similar when I was 12, actually. We didn't ruin the flooring or break the ceiling, but we did break the actual bowling arena thing. Lane? I don't know. The balls got stuck and the machine got stuck, and we were like shithead kids, and we're like, we'll get it unstuck by just hitting the ball that's stuck with another bowling ball. And so we just kept rolling bowling balls down this lane and it broke the whole thing. And I think that the employee was really mad at us but didn't yell, so kudos to him. He had the patience of a saint. With Sean, part of the Greyhawk creatives community. Dude, that rocks. That's super cool. I'll continue to make Eastmark my Greyhawk. Can't wait for Castle Zagig. It's gonna be awesome. Once it's like all done and together and in one book, oh my god. The Eastmark folio is already really cool, but to actually have like the full book all done with all of the different regions, that's going to be really special. Last game I got to play in was probably 8 or 9 years ago for Thanksgiving. My cousin DM'd. Damn, so you're overdue, is what I'm hearing, for another game. Going to Detroit for Easter to see Dad's family, and Eastern South Dakota for my brother's college graduation in May. That's going to burn up all my PTO for a while, so no GaryCon this year. Bummer. Big bummer. But those are very awesome uses of PTO. And hey, congratulations to your brother. That rocks. 300 is a perfect game. They sign and date the pin and give it to them. That's cool. That's sweet. That'd be a nice little, like, thing to have. 12, what an age. Truly a disaster. I barely remember anything from that year, and everything that I do recall is against my will about being 12. I'm not playing this week. I played last weekend. I GM 3 games set in Greyhawk. One is Greyhawk Geeksburg. The D&D game is a new campaign I'm starting this Saturday. Wednesday is my CNC Greyhawk Geeksburg game. And Thursday is my Greyhawk Barrow-based game. So you're booked and busy. That's awesome. How long have you been running games, Lando? Bowling requires a level of finesse that I lack, I say, as I consider playing a golf tournament this weekend. Dude, do the golf tournament. That rocks. My whole family is very, very, very into golf, and I've not caught the bug yet myself. I like it because they like it, and I like to do it because it's something that we can do together. But I haven't like been sucked into the hobby yet, and I think it's only a matter of time. I haven't been that long, so. Still on the hunt for East Tennessee peeps that want to do a CNC game. Dude, man, oh. I guess we were never East Tennessee. I don't know if y'all heard that. Nick's playing Veilguard down there.
I was talking to you.
Me?
Yeah, oh yeah. East Tennessee.
We were not East Tennessee. We were in Nashville.
Well, no, but where was that person when I was in East Tennessee?
Nick says, where were you when Nick was in East Tennessee?
Wow.
Too little, too late. Scheduling conflicts have screwed over our game for weeks. I'm in withdrawal. Same. But very exciting. I actually have updates. I actually do have tabletop gaming related updates to share with you all that does not involve mold and or our toilets. Nick just said neat. God, what were they again? Oh yeah. Okay. So there is a group of ladies that Steve has connected me with, and they are called the Charisma Cats. They are delightful. They're so funny. They're very, very smart. They're awesome. They were new to Castles and Crusades, but we played a practice game the other week, and we're actually going to start a mini campaign here on Twitch. And so on Tuesday nights, me and the Charisma Cats, it'll be us 4 ladies. We're going to be live here, and I'm going to be running them through a game. And it'll be my first campaign that isn't like a one-shot. And I'm very, very excited about it. I'll be running them through a game that I've been writing very, very slowly and sporadically over this past like year. With Nick's help, the two of us have been kind of writing it together. And yeah, that's going to be, I think, every other Tuesday or every Tuesday. I forget, but very, very excited about that one. So we have new actual plays coming to Troller Games Twitch. And then over on Hearth Coven Games, which some of you might be familiar with, but Hearth Coven Games is our actual, like, the group that I play with. That's our Twitch channel. That's not affiliated with Trollord Games as much, but we are the booth crew for Trollord Games, so you might see some familiar faces. we are going to be playing a cyberpunk game over there, and it's going to be 3 players and 1 GM, and we're going to be playing as a funk band, a 3-piece funk band that is also a mercenary group, and we're going to get into shenanigans, and it's going to be great. So we're going to do our session 0, I think, this week, and then next week we're going to probably stream, I think. So I'm sorry, I'm way behind on chat. Hey, Jeremy, welcome in. Perfect, something to listen to while I eat leftover spaghetti. Why would you say that to me? Now I want spaghetti. Nick's mom is visiting, and we have had so much good food over this past weekend. We went, Jeremy, you have to know about it, the Bavarian Inn in Frankenmuth. We went to Bronner's as well. And man, it rocked. It was so good. Thank you guys so much. I'm very excited. Are you going to post those games on YouTube? Probably. Yeah, I think I'm going to record them and cut them up so that they're watchable for, someone who's not watching it happen live. And then we're going to probably upload them. I'm very excited. That place is great. Oh my God, it was so good. I hadn't been since I was in at least a decade. More, because I think I was still in high school last time I went. But oh my God, it was so good. Cyberpunk Red or 2020? It'll be Red. Thank you. Cyberpunk Red. I don't know the difference. And you're playing George Clinton, right? Exactly. I'm going to be playing George Clinton's head in a jar on a robot. Kind of like a Minion from Despicable Me, but with George Clinton's head. Oh, from 1:15 UK time, where we've just had snowfall overnight. Dude, welcome in. Ilorcalon? Am I pronouncing that right? Or is it Ilorcalon or Llorcalon? But hey, welcome in from the UK. Thanks so much for joining us. It's good to have you. And also, Dakota, welcome in. How are you? It's lovely to see you. Lore Callan. Okay, thank you so much. I'm trying to do the grocery thing, but with Minion. The lesser known political Clinton figure, Minion Clinton. Oh my God. You know what? That's actually so funny. I'm writing it down. Because if we don't use that, what I really want is to just come back to my phone later and with no context just see Minion Clinton in my notes. I have so many just out of context notes in my phone. I'm not going to get lost in them, but let me just scroll real quick because there's something fucked up in here. I recently went through though and deleted a lot of them. Wait, there was one that was incomprehensible. Oh my God. I'm optimistic. I always see Chubbs half full. Anyway, I'm putting that away. Hey, Mortal, welcome in. Good to see you. Minion Clinton was famous for eating sheet metal. His blood actually glowed under black lights. It was crazy. I remember an episode of That's Incredible where a dude ate a bicycle. The 70s and 80s. That is a thing. Wasn't there a guy who would eat planes? I'm pretty sure I saw that. I'm almost certain that I didn't make that up. George Clinton is a legendary funk guitarist for anyone who didn't connect the dots. Is that real? Who was I thinking of? Is there a political George Clinton? Hey, Brad, welcome in. How are you? Welcome back for month 22. God damn, that's almost 2 years. Hello. It is going to be a campaign that's like based at least a little bit on like sort of Cowboy Bebop vibes. I'm very, very excited about it. And honestly, like, I want to learn how to draw and animate just so that I can have an episode of this campaign. And it hasn't even happened yet, but just at the very least, everyone's like backstories and stuff, I want to see them animated out. We have like a funk playlist that we've made for this campaign. Like, we're doing the whole thing, and I'm so excited about it. And it's just been a while since we've had a consistent game. Minion Clinton was legally declared to be without a soul by a surgeon, a priest, and a medicine man in 1992. Which is weird because he was born in 1994. Will there be jazz music? Almost certainly. Almost positively. I found a bad joke amongst my random notes. Want to hear? I'll accept no as an answer, and by bad joke, I do possibly mean bad taste. Okay, I appreciate you clarifying. If it's mean, then I think maybe not, but I appreciate you. Thank you, buddy. George Clinton lived 1739 through 1812, first governor of New York. Interesting. I was also thinking of Bill Clinton. My brain read dude first name Clinton and just it put Bill. It beamed Bill into my mind. Battle music is Rubber Band Man by the Spinners. I'm writing that down because I haven't heard it, and I don't want this video to get striked. Rubber Band Man by the Spinners, right beneath Minion Clinton. Anyway. I'm just thinking of Minion Clintonisms. Minion Clinton's like animal familiar is lice. I think Bill Clinton is related to him. At least I think I remember that being mentioned from back in the 90s. Well, hey. Close enough. They might as well be the same. Very Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm hoping for all of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Cowboy Bebop, like, just vibes. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Now everyone has to scratch. Minion Clinton was shot 8 times, centering mass, with a .22 caliber rifle in 2008 and fled to the wilderness where they nursed him back to health with a homeopathic mushroom broth, elk dung, and gum arabic. Who is they? Who is they? Minion Clinton was brought in by the Fae. He's like part robot, part Fae, part American politician. It's me, I'm they. The Sasquatch Federation. That's got to be a thing that exists. Sasquatch Federation. Nothing comes up. Hey, Nick, do you want to start a band?
Done.
Sasquatch Federation.
Yep.
All right, we're starting a band.
What's
What's
the vibe?
the vibe?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Clinton core?
Okay. I was thinking something like acid trip bluegrass.
Acid trip bluegrass? I'm thinking more like...
That actually sounds really good.
All right, we'll workshop it.
What were you thinking more?
Like American Greige.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Like if the color greige was a sound.
Do you want to give an example?
And it's that for 3 hours? On it. I don't know if y'all can hear him, but he supports it. He supports the vision. Acid rock bluegrass sounds amazing, not gonna lie. That's got to be a thing that exists.
Yeah, it is now.
It is now. Speaking of acid rock bluegrass, we are gonna read about the Winter Dark today. At some point, I promise. Because I have to be ready, because if this is your first time here, welcome. After this, in about 40-ish minutes, 35 minutes, Steve is going to be joining us, and we're going to do like a little world building Q&A, either about Aired in particular, or just like any questions that you have. We're going to be here to answer them. So stick around. Because I'm hoofing home and it's getting moist, I'm going to have to lurk. Please don't be too entertaining. Enjoy the damp. Nothing exciting will happen without you. You know what? I'm making a promise, and the rest of chat will hold me accountable. Nothing exciting or interesting will happen without Honey here. Chat is consistently totally serious about keeping me in line. No fuckery, nothing crazy. That is on my honor.
Quick, break out the alien evidence.
No. Steve. Okay, it's out of my system now. That's how I feel most of the time. You should check out Amigo the Devil if you haven't already. Such a good artist. Dude, thank you. I will. Amigo the Devil. I've never heard of that. One thing that you all need to know is that I trust Dougie's word implicitly. And Dougie, if you tell me that a musician is good, I'll probably die for them. I'll be ride or die, 0 to 100. This is a goo-less Catholic chat until you return. If it's fun, if it's a sin. 0 goo. Goonless. No goo. No gooning. It's goonless. I clipped Gray. Chanel lives forever. Thanks. A digital footprint. What's that? Anyway. Here's the thing. We have a story to get to. And I swear I'm going to do more than 30 minutes of reading today. So just to catch you up, last time we left off, we have been reading about the coming of the Winter Dark over Aired. And if you're not familiar with the Winter Dark is a title that is present on a lot of our products here at Cholard Games. And it references a period of 1,000 years in the world of Aired in which the entire world, the whole planet, was ruled over by a godly dictator called Unklar, otherwise known as the Horned God, also known as the Void or the Stain upon the Void, just overall the god of torture and death and everything that's bad and evil and cruel. And so it's not a great time for Aired. So we have been reading about the coming of the Winter Dark. And last time we got to the point where Unklar was finally, after much resistance, summoned to Aired. Nothing like Michigan water, unless you're in Flint, am I right? Flint still doesn't have clean water. Woohoo! Speaking of things that are terrible. But welcome in, Moose. It's good to see you. So there were many great heroes who fought against it, but ultimately Malazor was the name of the sorcerer, who was a very ambitious magic user who saw Unklar and didn't really know what he was, but knew that it was powerful. And so he sought to summon Unklar to Aired, and ultimately succeeded in this. And Unklar arrived, and the minute he set foot in the mortal realm, Malazor realized his mistake, but it was too late. Unklar bound Malazor to his service, which is a little bit ironic because Malazor was seeking to do the same to Unklar. And basically, the name of the city was Al-Liash, I believe. Al-Liash. Unklar destroyed the entire city, and from the ruins built his thousands of feet in the air tower, now known as Aufstrag, or else the mega dungeon of Erd, which one day we will have all of the levels for, one day. And that's pretty much where we are now. Unklar is kind of just starting to get right to business. His opinion is that he was born from a nightmare of the Allfather, who's the father of Erd and all of the gods. And he believes that he has come to this mortal planet, and it's wrong. It's not in line with the Allfather's design, because of what Unklar has in mind is the content of the Allfather's nightmares. And he's like, this doesn't look like a nightmare at all. This looks like a diverse world with lots of flora and fauna and thriving civilizations. Hardly the stuff of nightmares. Let me fix it. So Unklar is getting to work. And that just about catches us up. So we're going to get started. I swear to God, we're going to get started. That's why I voted for Unklar. If Flint doesn't have clean water, none of us should. Honestly, yeah. Vote for Unklar. Unklar is a pinhead. Who you calling pinhead? But despite all that, the Horned God is great at parties. Yeah, I'm sure Alfstrog has some crazy sounds coming out of Alfstrog. Probably some of them are good. His existence makes it extremely hard for me to write adventures. Why? Tell me why. Adventures pre or mid or post Winterdark. I want the answer to that question, and then I swear I'm going to start reading. I'm going to start reading, and we're going to read the story. And I'm not going to get distracted. Hey, Phantom, welcome in. How are you? It's so good to see you. And as a heads up, too, we are going to have that Q&A with me and Steve after this. We might have to pause the stream momentarily just to get everything, switched over. But if the stream cuts out for a minute, it'll be back. I could just announce that then, but I pretty much have to say things as soon as they rocket themselves into my brain. All of my thoughts are kind of 3D, ragdoll physics, bodies that kind of just jerk around and their limbs go flying everywhere, and then one of them goes out a window and then it's gone forever. So I pretty much have to put them to work and put them into my mouth and then out of my mouth and into the air basically immediately, or else I'll forget it. I have a pretty good attention span, but not when it comes to anything that goes on in here. My damp venture has ceased. Hello. As promised, nothing interesting happened. Nothing crazy. Welcome. Honestly, talking about reading the story is pretty delightful. I have the concept of reading a story. Reading will be even better when we get there. Also kind of same with those thoughts. Oh, totally. I think that's a pretty, not universal experience, but I think a lot of people have it. I do a lot of ancient past stuff, setting up the backstory to dungeons or whatever. Either they need to be subservient to Unklar and have a culture catered to him, or fly in the face of established canon. The alternative is to make locations and NPCs way, way older, but that introduces lots of other problems. That's fair. That makes sense. I wonder if, because it seems like there were some continents, I don't have God, this was so much better when I had the map behind me, but there were some continents where Unklar's reach was not crazy just because he wasn't that interested in them. Wasn't there? What's an Unklar? It's the guy that you don't like at Thanksgiving. Okay. We're gonna do it. We're doing it. We're gonna read. Grab yourself a beverage, get cozy. Get a blanket or a sweater, perhaps. I've got mine. Settle into whatever kind of body doubling task you'd like to do while we hang out and read. Thank you all for being here. I'm just going to say that in advance. You could be anywhere on a Monday night, and I super appreciate you coming in and spending some time with me. So we are going to read right now. Trolls Ah. Oh yeah, and the elves exiled themselves from Aird to a land of Fae called the Chenault, by the way, just as a side note. Blah, blah, blah. I should have found where we were. Okay. I swear to God, last thing. Daladon Lothian cursed the elves. Daladon himself was a half-elf. All of the elves voted to basically abandon Aird. And Daladon, in response, cursed all of the elves. So, background info. The elves watched events unfold in horror from Chenault, the land of seven rivers. Many became distraught and called for a return to Aird, where they could stand or fall with Kaomar's holy alliance. For these folk, Aird held a special place, a true home fashioned not from the passing of the Allfather, as the lands of Fae had been, but made by him in his prime. The lords and ladies of Chenault became embittered in the debate. Ever a prideful people, neither those who supported returning to Aird nor those who opposed it would yield. At last, the Lord of Lothian forbade any to leave until the fog of darkness was ended. The Lord was far-sighted and saw the unfolding of the Wall of Worlds and the coming of the winter dark. Many elves, however, remembering the words of Daladon Lothian, made to return to Aird. They rode from the seven rivers, crossing the lands between the worlds, but they found themselves barred from Aird by the will of Unklar. Attempts to force the issue failed, though they cast themselves against the portals with deeds of magic and the strength of arms. Despite all their practices, the portals held. Thus, the elves remained, for countless years, living in limbo, refusing to return to Chenault. They called themselves the Fontenouk elves, which mean, roughly, the abandoned or lost. These elves grew in bitterness, and they harbored hatred for the Dark One in Aufstrag, but also for their kin in Chenault. In the world of men, the Holy Alliance gathered beneath a forest of banners to resist the coming dark. They built fortresses, fortified the fences anew, and lay in stores for a war they increasingly felt was hopeless. The war began beyond the fence, in the lands between the Bald Mountains and the Sea of Chenault, though it uncoiled slowly. Those that remained there, in the Gelderland and the Anglame, fell quickly. Many died outright. Others the Ungern carted off to Aufstrag as slaves, and others simply vanished. Rumors of the slaughter spread to the west. A wave of panic rolled over the people, and many cast themselves into rivers or hid themselves away. They despaired, for truly none of them had believed that a return of the terrors of the old world would ever come to pass. Many could not bear the face of evil which strode the plains. Those who remained suffered an abiding fear that gnawed at their waking moments and fueled feverish nightmares. Only the king seemed impervious to this fear, and wherever he went, his countenance brought hope and heartened thereby, so he traveled the length and breadth of his land, giving comfort to those in need. A respite of sorts came to the folk of Ethram, for Unklar first turned his attention to the gods. Unclar feared the Val Ericun. These are the named gods of Erd in Erd's pantheon. But for the Val Austerlich, the lesser gods, he worried less. He sought to bind them to him, but many would not yield. So he cast himself a form, huge and mighty, with massive horns upon his brow, his skin as red as fire, his legs covered in thick black fur. He stood upon hooved feet and looked out across the world from yellowed eyes. He forged a mace, Utriel, judgment, to wield in battle, and a dark cloak of clouds to follow him wherever he went. He called to the shadow realms and to the void, and all the dark places of creation. He called for allies. From the depths of the wretched plains, there arose a tumult of many voices as great hosts of creatures crawled from the filth of their wasted existence to heed his call. These were the slaves of that place, bound by the red god no more, for he sat upon his throne unknowing. Unclar gathered them in several hosts, and he bound them to him, making them slaves to his will and design. Their foes called them the Tfungan, by their enemies the Fettered, what later men simply referred to as the devils of Unclar. These creatures stank of evil, but longed for the order of the world to be theirs. They saw the design of Unclar's purpose and sought to be a part of it, or at least to mimic it. Many of the voices in the wretched plains did not heed Unclar's call, but rather heaped curses upon him and swore to slay him and the Tfungan. These men, called the Tfunganos, or the Unfettered, for they remained free from Unclar's control. These demons, marked not by their independence, but by their utter madness, remained in the wretched plains. Unconcerned for those wretched creatures, Unclar gathered the Tfungan, fleshing out his terrestrial ranks with their cohorts. Unclar armored himself and took up Utriel, the mace of judgment, and marched to war at the head of his host. They marched then on Alun Hart Ra, the city that lies at the center, where the gods congregated. He tore down their gate and assailed them in their bastion, laying waste to it all. During this war of the gods, the Val Austerlich fought such that they greatly depleted the ranks of the Tfungan. The Val Austerlich did not yield their power freely. Unclar proved careless of the Tfungan as well, for he loved nothing, not even the loyalty of powerful minions. The war waged for years in the high halls of that place. The deeds of man and gods fell into the abyss, and few remained to remember them. But the struggle was hard, and took more from the horned god than he ever believed it would. In the end, Unclar cast the city into ruins, and left the survivors shadows of their former selves. The greater part of the casualties, however, were suffered by Unclar himself. His hosts were devastated, and where thousands had gathered, hundreds now remained. The Tfungan, of course, are of the ranks of the Val Ericun, and slaying them is not an easy task. Many died at Unclar's side, only to return to the halls of the wretched plains to lick their wounds. Their return to their nests, however, was fraught with danger, for in their absence, the Tfunganas assumed command of the gates and portals to the rings of brass, the towers and dungeons of the wretched plains, and many of the great cities of the plain fell to the demons, which they ruled in their raving madness. These realms were, as they always have been, home to pitiless dead, who once lived an evil or miscreant existence. Those lost spirits found no order in the rule of the Tfunganas. When the Tfungan returned, they sought their seats and towers, but the Tfunganos laughed them off and cast them the beggar's coin. War erupted soon after. It spread throughout the wretched plains as the two sides fought bitter battles, one to regain their strongholds and power, and the other for the love of hatred and tumult. The dead they left untended. Utter chaos ensued. In some areas the Tfungan ruled, and in others the Tfunganos. In others still, the dead rose to prominence, ruling their own kingdoms of wild nightmares. The wretched plains, unforgiving in its conception, leaderless in the absence of the Red God, descended into a deranged horror and dreadful nightmare. The lines that divide the two entities, the Tfungan and the Tfunganos, are not so easy to discern. They do not war as nations of men war, though they hate each other. In all the evil of the wretched plains, the Tfungan live in islands of calm, where they perpetuate evil in cold calculation, while all around them surges the sea of chaos, warring with and upon itself, even as it does upon the islands of dread in its midst. Only one constant defines the wretched plains. The creatures who dwell and rule there are evil, unashamed, and unrepentant, evil in their thoughts, actions, and deeds. There is no nobility of spirit, no justice that drives them. These are broken creatures, shed by the All-Father as flawed because of their evil, lost without the Red God, slaves to madness or Unklar. Hey, welcome in, Chuck. And Longshot, too. Sweater's giving Velma my glasses. I can't see without my glasses. Anyway, those Val Austerlich that dwelt in the world and escaped the sacking of Alunhart Ra saw the onslaught too late. Wrapped in their hidden worlds, safe in the fealty of thousands, they failed to realize the threat and evil of Unklar. For 11 brutal years, he stalked the Val Austerlich, slaying them or casting them into chains. In this war of the gods, some such as Durandale and the Great Oak escaped his wrath, but many fell and ceased to be. Narhite, Lord of chaos and evil, alone stood against Unklar. He was of the named Val Ericune and thus never bound by the judgment, this being the judgment of Corthane. As he watched Unklar overwhelm all there was, he was unamused. I think that's the first time we've ever heard description of Narhite as unamused. Narhite took up residence on a hill north of the mighty Grundlik Mountains and called Unklar to him. Lo, I call to the horned god. And he was the first to call Unklar by that name, and it was used ever after in spite. Come to me, and let us unravel you together. Unklar heard his call, and remembered well the sting of Narhite's rage in the battles with the Val Ericune before the Undeeps became his home. He wondered at what hidden strength Narhite had to challenge him so. Taking up Utriel, he crossed the mountains and called upon him there. Your people are scattered far and wide, O Lord of Chaos. Your elder siblings gone, or distracted. What now gives you thought of victory, lest you conceal some hidden power? Narhite smiled. I am last born, that is true. Though trust not the darkness, for I am far-seeing and know the will of he who made all, though in truth, I care little for it. Well, Narhite gilded tongue, and with that Unclar struck Narhite with Utriel, and he shattered it like ice. But from the struck Narhite with Utriel, and he, Narhite, shattered like ice. But from the ruin of him rose a tower of madness, and it fell upon Unclar with a fearlessness the horned god could not fathom. Unk needs to take a chill pill, methinks. Daddy, chill. They fought upon the rolling hills north and east of the Grundlik Mountains. The duel rocked the earth, and the thunder of their clash shook the towns and castles as far away as the lands of Keomar. At the height of the battle, Narhite lifted his sword to cleave down the Dark One, but Unclar turned the ground beneath him to ice and struck the earth a mighty blow. The ice crumbled, shattering into 1,000 shards. One such shard gouged Narhite's face, and he staggered and fell into the newly formed glacier and was trapped. His wound bled copiously, and his blood spilled into the earth. And Narhite smiled, for he saw in this the work of many things, and that chaos must come from Unclar's arrogance. Why do you smile, Lord of Chaos? Do you relish defeat? You are my seed, Undeeps, for thus he styled the horned god ever after. And for you, all shall love me ever greater. The horned god bound Narhite and imprisoned him in 7 brass towers. Around the towers he built a keep, and around the keep he built a city with walls interspersed between 21 towers. This was the City of 7, and it contained Narhite for 1,000 years. The City of 7 became a strange, wicked place where many things escaped the order of the world of Winter Dark, for in truth, the towers of brass never fully contained the chaos of that god, and it seeped out into the world. Yeah, you are my seed. Father? Dad? In the long days of the Winter Dark, the lords of law and many others beside traveled there to enter the 7 towers and battle chaos, for they relished that particular entertainment. So terrible was the battle between those 2 gods that the lands about them became a wasteland, now lying frozen by Unclar's spells, a glacier spanning hundreds of miles. In later days, it was named the Frozen Salt Flats, for a frost of ice forever remained, and the soil of the place was poisoned, for it bore the evil waste of Narhite's wound. Of the other Val Ericune, Unclar dealt with them singly or not at all. Aelor in his green halls saw little, and cared less for the world above, and Unclar feared the water. The Ertaut, the one tree, stood still on the marl, and Unclar could not break its strength, though he tried, for it held the will of Mordias within. Frafnog slept, and Tefnut returned to the waters of the world. Corthane saw the coming of the darkness and knew its name, and he brooded in his fortress of wind, for he had no foreknowledge of this, and he husbanded his strength, for it was the red god who waited for him upon the Gonfod. Of Unclar he knew not, for at last, when he had fought the darkness, he had the whole host of the Val Ericune beside him, back when the world was young. Now they were much diminished. Reminds me of Brock referring to Atreus as Kratos' sack seat. That's terrible. That's cursed. Actually, that's banned. Yeah, can we just ban honey real quick? Don't ban honey. I'm kidding. I've not played God of War yet. I still have to do that. Reading about Unclar makes me want to. Anyway, his unclacy is going crazy. With the fall of the gods, the folk of Erd fell into despair. The dwarves once more closed their kingdoms. the last of the elves passed into the land of 7 rivers, but for a few who remained. The Fae and other folk fled to the forest deeps and hid themselves away. The orcs, hobgoblins, and even those eldritch goblins who remained bowed to Unklar and joined him in warring upon the men of the world. Many peoples in other lands flocked to Unklar's banners, and he welcomed them, melding them to his own designs. For 40 years, Unklar waged his war against the broader world of Erd, and wherever he went, the clouds of winter lingered ever after. At the last, only the men of Ethram held out. They stood against the dark for a great while, led by King Robert Luther, his family, and the Yaren of the Order of the Scintillant Dawn. Oh no, I read that wrong. Sorry. And Jaren. I read Jaren and I thought it said the Jaren, and then I thought it was, my brain said Jarl, and I was like, oh, maybe it's, I don't know that word, but maybe it's pronounced like Jarl. Anyway, it's a name. King Robert Luther, his family, and Jaren of the Order of the Scintillant Dawn. These last conflicts, the Catalyst Wars, were long and brutal and saw the collapse of the Holy Alliance, the end of the West, the death of King Robert Luther, and the extermination of much of the royal line of Keomar, and the end of active resistance on Erd for 1,000 years. These wars were long and tragic, and finally recounted in the Morally Chronicles, composed by she who, of all the lords of Keomar, escaped. Morally Lothian Pendegrants, sister of Robert Luther, fled with many other refugees of Keomar into the far distant west. The victory of Prince Eric Aristobulus Uriens, that is a name, over Unklar's navy in 789 OY left a window for them to escape, and this they did. They gathered what ships they could, and in the company of Luther's bastard son, Morgeld, set sail for the Rim Ortsul, hoping to escape to the void and the fortress of Aiul and Corthane's mercy. For years they sailed, the journey a legendary trek fraught with countless horrors. Aside from one, a fisherman, as is told elsewhere in the Fisherman's Tale, the refugees never found that fabled path. Their voyage sent them to the far edge of the world, even beyond the Arnhul Mountains where the first dwarves built their homes. They came then even to the end of things, the edge of the world, for these lands bordered the Wall of Worlds. There the survivors found a deep-water bay, surrounded by high cliffs. Beyond the bay lay a well-watered land of deep soil and green grass, and they named these the Ethlium lands, that is, Man's End. But later they called them the Greenling Fields, for even in the winter dark, the light of the sun fell upon the land and the grasses grew. A broad escarpment of jagged cliffs hemmed the Greenling Fields on the landward side, breached only by a singular valley, that itself was guarded by a wide river. In the valley they called the Valley of Moor, that is, the light in the dwarven tongue, for when first the morning sun rose, it cast its rays down along the long cleft of the valley and shone in the Greenling Fields, and it was accounted a thing of marvelous beauty. The refugees were amazed, for they felt they had come to a land built to house them in safety after the long years of turmoil and war. In truth, this was a realm fashioned by Tefnut. Seeing their distress through their long struggles, she departed the Ethvold, her home, and came to this land to shape it anew, and to make it a bastion for the children of her children. She made her abode in the cool waters of the river, so that ever its turmoil was her own. It was her power that kept the shroud of darkness later cast by Unklar from the greenling fields, for she was of the named Val Ericune, and no power might stop her but through great effort. The Ethram built a city upon the bay, calling it Faurenost. They spread through the greenling fields, building farms and villages and roads between. The hills they called the Escarpment, and they constructed a wall upon the western banks of the river. The wall possessed no gate, nor did they bridge the river, for they deemed that whoever should attack them would gain no easy access to the greenling fields. They set a council to rule them, and these were the paladins of Faurenost, and one of their number they called Emperor. South of the bay stood an island of granite, seemingly one stone thrust forth from the turbulent waters. This isle guarded the approaches to the bay. The Ethram built a tower there so that they might watch the seas to the south for the coming of the dark. But Prince Morgeld bid them give him the tower, so that he might settle his folk upon the lonely isle. Give me this isle of stone, and I will hold the southern passages for your people. Unless I and all my company pass to the wretched plains, we shall keep any from approaching from the south. And the Ethram granted the prince the island, and charged him with its defense. It's 9 o'clock on the dot, 8 o'clock central. Thrust, I'm sorry, you should be. Terrible. Okay, let me see if Steve is around, because I sent him the link. So I'm just going to text him real quick. And in the meantime, we'll just hang out until I hear from him. He said yes, what time? Troll time, man. Give me about 5. All right, so we will be back in 5. Or, well, I mean, I guess I don't have to go anywhere. I'm just gonna pop up this Zoom page so I can keep an eye on it. Oh. Just getting set up here. Baba Booey. I had forgotten about the Greenling Fields, and I'm glad that it existed. 7 in real G time, mountain time for life. It's okay to be wrong. Hey Sean, welcome in. How are you? What are the components in a Steve summoning spell? Ooh, we'll have to actually ask him that. I'm gonna guess, and we can see how right I am. Dr. Pepper, a plain cheeseburger, a book about aliens, some kind of like minor but still like significant, not insignificant disaster of some kind, some sort of like small crisis, and that's all I got, actually. I'm like, what else does Steve really like? Hey, Jace, welcome in. Is that a jar of dice? I think I have the exact same jar for my bulk dice. Do we have the exact same dice, too? It is a jar of dice. This is where all of my dice live. except for my like special pairs sets. Not pairs. I don't know why I said pairs. I have this little box here, and I've got my like fancy schmancy dice in there, which I probably should keep them in like an individual like bag because they don't play nice with each other. And I don't want them to scratch, but so far they're fine, and I'm not taking that box places or rattling around, so whatever. Break jar during a tabletop RPG emergency. Wait, that would be cute. That would be a cute little decoration to have back here, like break in case of emergency. That would be cute. Quantum entangled dice jars. Fuck yeah, we're living in the future. I have a dice pouch for the click clack sound. Oh yes, the clicky clacky math rocks. Yes. I have dice in 4 rooms, over 100 dice sets, and more than 200 d6s. Oh my god. Well, hey, with all the games you run, you kind of need them. I broke my dice jar during my last session, and I was so upset. Was it, like, bad rolls? Get frustrated? Oh my god, Jonathan. That's cursed. That's so cursed. I'm gonna remember that for next time. I need it. Lando wins. I have been outgoblined. We're all gonna catch up to Lando. We're all gonna do it. I'm making it my resolution. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna get a more respectable horde. Do I need them? No. But when has that ever stopped me? I was using it as an improvised hammer to build a dice tower and forgot I have metal die in there, and it just shattered in my hand. Oh my god. That's terrible. Most of my dice are in my big phantom themed D20 dice vault. You got a themed dice vault? That rocks. One thing that I really want to get, I want to hit up Dodeca Donuts. They were one of the small businesses that we interviewed in our QuestCon video that we shot at Gamehole. And their stuff is so cute, and I really want some. Anyone make their own dice, i.e. resins? My friend Emily has been making batches of dice for Trollord Games, and I'm pretty sure she uses resin. But her dice are stunning. So pretty. So good at it. She spent a lot of time like really perfecting her method and like going trial and error and like making sure that the dice were really fucking awesome before starting. Does she take commissions? She might. I can ask her. In fact, I'll ask her and I'll let you know. See my post in Discord, got a new CNC dice bag. Ooh, hell yeah. I want a blue set if she makes any. Dude, she might. Ooh, Steve message. He's rebooting Davis's computer. So Steve will be in here in just a minute. You know what I'm actually going to do? I think I'm going to go ahead and pause the stream. Maybe. What's the best way? Because I have to like exit out of OBS because I can't have... It's like a weirdness with my camera. But yeah, I'll definitely ask Emily about if she takes like commissions and stuff. I think she would, but I don't want to speak for her. My old coworker used to make dice. I wish I would have bullied him out of a set before I quit. Well, hey, it's never too late to bully a coworker, even if you're not coworkers anymore. You can still bully. Ba-ba-booey. Anyway, okay. I'm going to quit out of OBS really quick, and we will be right back. I'll see you guys.